The Water Supply Cost Savings Act is an act where when very small communities, which are communities of 500 or fewer, need funding for water infrastructure, they go to EPA and USDA for grants and loans. The Water Supply Cost Savings Act says that when they do that, they will be giving a clearinghouse of information on the cost effectiveness of using wells and well systems as part of that infrastructure.
And this passage of the Savings Act was the first opportunity we've had to get federal recognition, to have the Congress and the Senate and the EPA and the USDA acknowledge that water wells are a safe, affordable source of drinking water.
There's been a historic movement towards larger systems. These are very expensive. Small communities don't have the tax base to put in these very expensive systems. And we found by putting in a well or shared wells, we can cut the cost of providing safe drinking water by 75+%, which makes drinking water affordable for a lot of rural America.
And it's just a huge opportunity to save taxpayers' money and enhance the industry.
A lot of it revolves around our nonprofit, the Water Well Trust. The Water Well Trust was developed in 2010 to help Americans who are living without access to safe drinking water. And our projects have proven that many times wells are the best solution in these rural areas. For instance, we did a project in Ben Hill County, Georgia a couple of years ago. There was a failing public water supply system that was run by the county. It was going to cost $600,000 to repair that system. There were only 20 households and a few churches on that system. So you can do the numbers and see how expensive that would have been. We partnered with the county. We went in and drilled 8 wells. The county drilled a few additional wells for the churches. And the total cost for that was $81,000, a savings of 86%.
This is the first time we are recognized as an industry, and there is an alternative to municipal larger system. And as you know, rural America is as big as urban America. How do they get the water? Well, we fell below the radar screen before, and now we are recognized by EPA and Congress.
But the passage of this legislation means that we have the opportunity to create more work for the water well drilling community. And cost-effective solutions for private homes, for small systems. We also have the opportunity to try to educate a lot more people about private water supplies and private well ownership, what it takes to drill a good well, what it takes to maintain them. And I think the educational piece of this is fully as valuable as the potential for a workload, for a greater workload for us. Notoriety, we're recognized as professionals. I think there's a lot that goes with this bill.
With the work of the Savings Act, we will be educating and equipping people to learn how to gain access to the funding that they need so that they can have the safe drinking water that they are required to have, both for large communities and even individual households.
Implementation is going to be bigger, but it's the biggest opportunity I think the water systems industry's had in my lifetime at least. There's a place for infrastructure, and there's a place in rural areas for individual wells.
Wells and well systems provide safe, quality water at a very affordable price, and the Savings Act actually helps that become an acceptable means of providing drinking water.
It is truly life-changing when somebody actually has access to safe water. This is something that we don't think about. We think you turn on the tap and the water is there. But for millions of Americans, that doesn't happen at all. And for more and more Americans, the water that is coming out may have issues because of the age of the water infrastructure. So it's imperative that the country invests more time and money into our water infrastructure so all Americans can have safe drinking water.
In 2014, our prayers for reliable, affordable source of drinking water were answered. My mother contacted Senator Boozman, who listened to our story and took action to help our family and families like ours to get drinking water. Senator Boozman arranged meetings between my mom and the Water System Council that resulted in drilling of wells that brought fresh, reliable drinking water directly into my mother's home and eventually into my home and our neighbors' homes. Wells and well systems are a godsend to rural communities like mine. We were never going We were never going to have resources to pay for drinking water treatment facilities or run water lines many miles. However, wells provide to be a very cost-effective alternative for me and my neighbors. The Water Systems Council, through its Water Well Trust, has provided my parents, myself, and families across Arkansas quality drinking water at a reasonable price through wells. And last year, Senator Bozeman worked with Senator Cardin, thank you, Senator Cardin, to have the Water Supply Cost Savings Act enacted into law. Legislation requiring the USDA and the EPA set up clearinghouses with information on the use of wells, well systems to meet rural drinking water challenges. The Water Systems Council has proven that wells can reduce the cost providing drinking water to many rural communities by over 75%. The 2011 EPA Needs Survey estimates the shortfall of drinking water funding for small communities at $64.5 billion. We've seen in Arkansas wells, they significantly reduce the cost of providing drinking water in many small rural communities, and Congress should do everything it can to promote the use of wells in these rural areas. I know firsthand the importance of safe, affordable drinking water, and wells are a part of that solution.
I think in the 3 years since we started working on the Savings Act and getting it eventually drafted, introduced by members of the Senate and the House of Representatives, and eventually getting it enacted into law, the thing that struck me the most is the fact that there are millions of Americans in a country as rich as our country, with the advancements in technology that we have, that still don't have basic drinking water in their homes. And I think, as we've seen, we have an opportunity to really close that gap and provide over 1 million people quality drinking water at an affordable price. And that's something America should be about.